Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VA Loan Crash Course. My name is Spencer. I will be subbing in here for Evan today. We'll talk about VA loan, what you need to know to get the basics under your belt and set you up with some practical information to go get your first VA loan or maybe a reminder with your second, third, whatever it may be. So, hopping straight into it. This is Evan. I am his assistant. His contact there is on the screen. You can reach out to him. He'll probably get in touch with me as well. We'll get you started in the pipeline and get you what you need in order to get your VA loan. All right, so kind of outlining what we'll be working for here, the objectives of our webinar. We'll start with some history and some highlights, then we'll go into common questions. We'll give it a little bit of one-on-one, VA loan one-on-one. Then we'll get a scenario exercise, actually give some details on the benefits of a VA loan, we'll give you some numbers. Cover who qualifies for the VA loan. And then lastly, the practical information on how now to go in a home now that you have this information. So let's hop straight into it here, starting with history and highlights. So the VA loan originally starts here coming out of World War II. Specifically, they passed the GI Education Bill. Congress passed the GI Education Bill and the VA Home Loan Guarantee coming out of the Service Member Readjustment Act of 1944. So obviously those are two pieces of legislation that are with us that change things. The GI Education Bill for education for the soldiers coming home from World War II, and the VA home loan was about getting them a home as they came home. So that's when it all started, a product of World War II times. And now, this is kind of a basic essence of what the VA loan is. The VA is guaranteeing your mortgage 25% of the loan amount. The VA doesn't lend you money. They work with lenders like us to actually lend you the money, lenders like us, and then they guarantee it after we lend it. So that's the essence. It's kind of the baseline of a VA loan, what's going on in the background. So what does this allow us lenders to do? It allows us to get 100% financing, no down payment. That's a huge piece of it. Secondly, there's no mortgage insurance. PMI, private mortgage insurance, that is essentially being covered by the guarantee from the VA. That 25% guarantee is in lieu of you paying mortgage insurance. So thus it makes it cheaper on you and your monthly payments. And lastly, it lowers the interest rate because no matter what happens, the investors who ultimately will hold your mortgage, they can always know that they will get 25% of that loan amount back from the VA. Thus, it's less risky. Thus, rates should be lower on your VA loan. So, hopping through just some common questions that we get with the VA loan here. Just run through them. All right. So, can you use your VA loan more than once? Yes, you absolutely can. Can you have multiple active VA loans? Yes, you can. There's some nuance to that, though. We'll get into that later, but you can. Does the VA home loan benefit expire? Will you ever lose access to it? No. As long as you gained access to it in the beginning, in the first place, you'll retain it for the rest of your life. Does it have a size limit? No, but there is some nuance to that too, relating to can you use it more than once, that we'll get into. All right, does having a disability rating affect your VA loan? Yes, it will benefit you. All right. And can you use your VA loan while on active duty? You most certainly can. That is the majority of our customers that are still on active duty, PCSing from base 1 to base 2. You definitely can do that. All right, can National Guard members, or if you're in the reserve, can you have a VA loan? Yes, you can, but there's conditions to that. You have to qualify. Specifically, you have to either have A, had 6 years in the Guard or Reserve, or B, had a cumulative sum of more than 90 days on active duty orders, one of those two. Okay, so that's looking back on it there. We'll kind of just touch on the nuance there. As we said, can you use your VA loan more than once? And then does it have a cap? Is there a size limit to the VA loan? So you can use your VA loan more than once, but here's what happens. When you're using your VA loan for the first time, the VA is unlimited in what they are willing to insure your mortgage for. That 25% guarantee, the VA will underwrite it for as much as you want to go when it's your only home. When you have one home and now you're going to buy your second or third VA loan without selling the prior homes, you have multiple outstanding, the VA is going to cap how much of the insurance, how much of the guarantee that they're putting into your mortgage. Once you reach that cap on your second, third home without selling your prior, so once you reach that cap, you will be required to bring a down payment. Technically, that's not coming from the VA, that's coming from underwriting standards. Our underwriter standards are that you'll need to start bringing a 25% down payment on the difference from what you go over your cap. So if your cap is, I'm just going to make up numbers here, right? If your cap is $500,000 and you want to take out a $600,000 loan, you got to bring 25% of that difference. Your difference is $100,000. You'll need to bring $25,000 as a down payment to make that work. So that was a little bit of nuance from those slides there. So we'll continue on. All right, so getting into some basic elements over here, some one-on-one stuff. So what is the VA mandatory funding fee, the VA funding fee? That is your biggest closing cost. That's going to be paid to the VA, and it is the one closing cost that you're actually allowed to roll into the loan. We can simply click a button on that and add it to the balance of your mortgage. You don't necessarily have to pay it at close. But with that being said, there's three ways that you can have it paid. You can pay it immediately at close. Option one, buyer at closing. Two, you can negotiate for the seller to pay it for you if you get enough what they call seller credits, which is essentially when the seller pays your closing costs. If you get enough, they can pay it for you. And then three, as I said, you can roll it into the balance of the loan. You can avoid having it paid at all in the beginning and then just pay it off over your 30-year mortgage or 15-year mortgage, whatever you're doing. So, next slide here. This breaks out what your VA funding fee will be. It depends on two factors. It depends on A, the down payment you're bringing, and B, how many times you've used your VA loan before. If it's your first time using your VA loan, it's going to be cheaper. If it's your subsequent use, you've already used it before, it's going to be more expensive. With that being said, if you're 0% down on a purchase and this is your first time purchasing a home with a VA loan, it's going to be 2.15%, as you see in the top left little chart there. If it's your second use or third, or if you already used your VA loan before and you're on 0% down, that jumps to 3.3. It gets more expensive. Now here's the deal. The VA gives you a discount if you bring a down payment. As you see, if you bring 5% down, you'll get 1.5% on the VA funding fee. Drop it. And if it's your subsequent use, your VA funding fee just got halved. It went from 3.3 to 1.5. Then they give you a little bit more of a discount. If you bring 10%, boom, they drop it to 1.25. Those are for purchases. For a cash out refi, if it's your first time doing it, you're going to go 2.15, right? So it'll be like that 0% down purchase first time. If you've done it before, if it's your subsequent use, 3.3. On an IRRRL, which is refinance purely just to drop your interest rate, a cash out refi is where you refi and pull money out of the equity that you have in the home. An IRRRL is where you simply just drop the interest rate. That is 0.5% on the VA funding fee. And then a loan assumption, that's where you take over somebody else's loan. You literally assume their loan and start making the payments for it. The other person's VA loan, that's 0.5% as well. So that's the breakout on all the VA funding fees you could face. Okay, so COE. This is a basic document that comes from the VA that essentially says this veteran is eligible for the VA loan and here's certain parameters that are relevant to their VA loan. Don't worry too much about that. We'll get that on your behalf. If you're working with us, we're hooked into the VA's portal and can easily pull that on your behalf. But that will be a necessary document that you need to get in order to get your VA loan. So VA property types, what can you buy with the VA loan? You can't buy everything. Fortunately, you can't go down, you can't buy your mall with the VA loan. Sorry, just putting that there up front. But what you can buy, left side, single family homes. Obviously, you can buy single family homes. You can buy condos. A little bit of nuance to condos. You'll need to get the condo association cleared with the VA, which is not a problem if you're working with us. Done that before. You just got to collect documents and turn it into the VA. The VA just basically doesn't want to buy into a dysfunctional condo association, so they got to make sure it's run right. But do it with condos, you can do it with townhomes, you can do it with multi-family homes, right? Duplex, threeplex, or fourplex, can't go above 4. Mobile or manufactured home, a little bit of nuance there too. Specifically, you have to own the land underneath you. You cannot be paying rent on your mobile home. The mobile home has to be affixed to the ground with a permanent foundation. And the mobile home has to be built after 1976 because that's when HUD started regulating them, making sure they're built in a specific way. And then 4, you can build a home. You can have a new construction. That's a whole different loan type there, and we do that one. We do that one. So if you're interested in that, you can give us a call. But you can actually build a home, and with the VA loan. What is not eligible? Commercial property. As I said, can't buy them all, unfortunately. Raw land. Can't buy raw land. Technically, you can buy raw land if you immediately build on it with the new construction loan, technically. But if you just want to buy raw land and not build on it, can't do it. Undeveloped lots, can't buy your local parking lot with the VA loan. And investment homes, you can't just buy a rental home for a VA loan, but you can buy a duplex, threeplex, or fourplex, live in one of them, and then rent out the others. All right. So comparing, now this is the example that we're going to get into some numbers. This is how that VA guarantee and the lower rates and the 0% down, this is how this actually can play out in a real example. So let's say we have a $500,000 home. It's a 30-year mortgage, okay? And as we see here, a rate on a conventional that you can see is 6.5. Was VA, you could see 5.625. You're going to have to bring a 5% down payment on conventional. Don't have to bring a down payment on VA, 0% down. Thus, you'll have a little bit smaller of the loan balance with conventional as compared to VA because you're going 0% down. But the fact that you have a lower interest rate creates a situation where you have lower principal and interest. You have lower monthly payments because of that. And with the conventional, you'll have mortgage insurance. As long as you don't have 20% equity in the home, you will pay mortgage insurance on it, which will increase your payments here in this example. $114 is kind of an estimate on it, right? So with that, the sum of mortgage insurance you'll pay in this scenario is about $16,000, 16.6. You'll pay an additional $44,000 roughly on interest. You'll have to bring a $25,000 down payment. So that can add up about $86,000 of a difference that your VA loan is doing for you, or VA versus conventional there. So next slide here is who qualifies. So there's the qualification of, did you serve in the military? Do you have access to the VA loan? Then there's the qualification of, you got to find a lender that works with you can qualify for their underwriting standards. You have enough debt, you have a good enough debt to income ratio, your credit's good enough, etc. Right? So there's 2 lines of rules. There is the VA loan rules that they say, for example, you cannot buy raw land with the VA loan. All lenders have to follow that. But then there's overlays. There's rules that lenders overlay on top of the VA's rules. And so that's where this comes in, right? Who qualifies? In order to figure that out, you got to reach out to a lender. You got to go through the process. You got to get pre-approved. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to get pre-approved, see if we can get you qualified and get you out there looking for a home with your VA loan, get you actual numbers, and give us a call, and we can run you through this qualification, right? So as I said there in the bottom, right, running a credit check, calculating your income when you get pay stubs, etc. Those are the kind of things that you'll do when seeing if you qualify with your lender. Okay, so with all this information here, how do you actually go out and win a home with the VA loan, right? How do I use this? How do I use this and actually get a home with good deals? So a huge part of winning a home, of setting yourself up for success, is working with people that know how to use the VA loan. There's 2 main parts of your team when you're buying a home. There's your lender and there's your realtor. And think about this. Take any random house being bought in America, select it at random. That home, the lender working for it and the realtor working for it, it's probably not going to be a VA loan setup because most people don't serve in the military. Most people don't qualify for a VA loan. It's probably going to be a conventional or an FHA loan. Probably not going to be VA. What I'm saying there is a lot of the times VA loans are kind of rare from a quantity standpoint. They're very easy if you know what you're doing. And that's what we do. That's what we specialize in. And when you're working with people that specialize in it, it'll be much simpler for you and you'll be set up much better to go out and face the complexities. We'll have the complexities simplified for you and set you up to win. With that being said, right, both the realtor and the lender side are important to that. So we do both of that, right? We've at Home Loans, we do the VA loan side. Our sister company, We've at Realty, run by Marty. She has a network of VA loan specialist realtors. And so if you want to learn further, if you want to get connected, you can reach out at any time. We'd love the chance to work for you. This is our contact information here. you reach out to that, you'll get in touch with Evan. You'll probably get, I'll probably talk to you as well there. But that's what we got. I appreciate you listening to this webinar. Like I said, reach out if you got questions, any follow-up questions or anything like that. We're here, ready to help. And I appreciate your time and listening to the webinar.